high inflation imposes significant hardship, especially on those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials, like food, housing, and transportation.
Can a stimulus check payment combat inflation in this country? Stay tuned to find out. Hey, what is going on YouTube? Good morning. I hope you guys are having a great morning so far. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the news. And while you're at it, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you've been waiting on some stimulus check information, then stay tuned because this video is loaded with information. And if you want to win some free cash, then comment the word 60K goal for your chance to win. The giveaway information is down in the description below. Make sure to stay tuned because we're going to give you information on how to win a $50 Visa gift card. Of course, inflation, it's all around. It's no secret at all. Look around and you'll see the increase in prices on everything. But I came across this news and it really got me puzzled because they do not believe that the answer to helping those on low income, Social Security, those on benefits, and even those in the middle class, yes, the middle class, they don't believe that sending a one-time stimulus check or even monthly stimulus checks will help the economy, will help anybody out. Let's jump into this article to read what they are saying. All right, guys, if you look at the screen, they're saying, can a new payment help combat inflation in the country? Inflation driven by increased fuel costs is beginning to impact households in the United States. Could a stimulus check help stabilize the economy? Let us know in the comments down below whether you think that we should or shouldn't get a stimulus check. I'm going to be honest, guys. There are many viewers on this channel who said we do not need another stimulus check. But my thing is this, there are so many people needing relief right now because of inflation that it wouldn't hurt to send out a stimulus check. I believe it would be better for people to get help right now. I believe that they should send stimulus checks out because it would help a ton of people out, millions of people. So let's keep reading. As inflation continues to rock the United States, many households are losing purchasing power. Prices are up on average 8.5% compared to last year, with increasing fuel costs driving the surge. Someone tweeted from the labor statistics saying that the cost price index for all items rise 1.2% in March. Gasoline, shelter, food indexes rise. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the gasoline index rose 18.3% in March and accounted for over half of all items' monthly increase. As fuel prices increase, so do transportation costs for firms. Many companies pass alongside the increased cost to the consumer by charging higher prices. What is clear is that the current bulk of inflation seen in the market is not affecting all products in the same way. The Consumer Price Index decreased by 0.4% in the March when energy and food commodities were removed from the average. What will the federal government do to counter inflation? In response to increasing inflation, the Federal Reserve has announced that it will raise interest rates. All right, guys, that right there is just mind-blowing. But take a look at this video. Let me know what you think about it because I literally was watching it and I was getting ready to turn it off, and then I was like, no, I gotta keep listening. And I'm so glad that I listened because literally this video is so filled with information talking about all these spike interest rates happening in June and July, and it's gonna hit us in the summer. And they're talking about mortgage interest rates. They're talking about the price of vehicles, things that literally could point us into a recession. But they're saying that our economy is good. But look at this video. Let me know what you think about it, your feedback. I love it, guys. Let us know. But let's watch this video and tell me what you think.
Federal Reserve officials announced that they are prepared to fight inflation with a series of interest rate hikes next year, suggesting it will begin earlier than they projected just months ago. The Fed's benchmark interest rate, which affects borrowing, lending, and economic growth, has been near zero since the start of the pandemic in an effort to boost the recovery. But today, Fed Chair Jay Powell said there could be as many as 3 rate hikes next year, starting in the spring, in an effort to cool persistent rising prices.
High inflation imposes significant hardship, especially on those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials, like food, housing, and transportation. We are committed to our price stability goal. We will use our tools both to support the economy and a strong labor market, and to prevent higher inflation from becoming entrenched.
The Fed also announced that it will scale back even further its efforts to stimulate the economy through major bond purchases. For more on these moves and their potential impact, we turn to Julia Coronado. She's an economist at the University of Texas at Austin, the founder of the firm Macro Policy Perspectives, and she is a former economist for the Fed. Julia Coronado, welcome back to the NewsHour. This is a pretty dramatic announcement. Why is the Fed doing this?
Well, the message from Chair Powell today was it's not just about inflation that has been running pretty high in recent months, but the labor market is really strong. The economy is basically running pretty hot. We've seen the unemployment rate drop substantially. We've seen really significant wage gains. Interest-sensitive sectors like housing are running really strong. So the economy doesn't need as much support from monetary policy as it once did. Despite all the turbulence from ongoing waves of COVID, the economy is doing really well, and the Fed has concluded that it needs to start pulling back, start stepping away. It's not trying to kill the recovery, it's just trying to cool things off. And again, keep that inflation in check, as the clip you just played indicated.
So what effect is the increase in interest rates expected to have on the economy?
Well, over time, as the Fed raises interest rates, consumers should see somewhat higher interest rates for mortgage loans, for car loans, and businesses should see maybe some tighter terms to obtain financing. We've seen some really easy financial conditions in the last year. And so we should expect to see a bit tighter conditions and a little bit higher prices to obtain credit in particular. So it's those credit sensitive sectors that the Fed would like to see cool down just a little bit.
And the other thing the Fed announced is they are shrinking these monthly bond purchases. They're going to be doing this much faster than they had said. How's that going to affect the economy?
Same channels. The bond purchases work by putting downward pressure on longer term interest rates after they've lowered short term interest rates to zero. So as they back away from these purchases, we should see some of those longer term interest rates move higher. And also, there are spillovers to other areas of the financial markets. The stock market's been running really strong. We've seen a lot of, you might call it froth in areas like cryptocurrencies, and that kind of sort of enthusiasm may see some cooling as the Fed stops injecting liquidity into financial markets.
Are most analysts at this stage saying that these are the right moves at the right time and the right pace?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of mixed views, and let's be clear, the uncertainty around even just next year continues to be really, really high, given the pandemic, given different potential outcomes for fiscal policy. So there's differing views. The markets took the Fed's announcement actually extraordinarily well, surprisingly well, given that they were unambiguously declaring the easing of policy is going to be in the rearview mirror soon. So there isn't really any indication from financial markets that the Fed is either tightening too soon or even really that it's tightening too late. So right now they're giving the Fed a lot of credibility, and there's no real indications of turmoil or concern that they're about to kill the recovery.
To what extent did you listen to the Fed chair today? To what extent did you hear him acknowledge that the Fed had been misreading the economy over the last year?
Chair Powell was actually very forthcoming, and he's been pretty clear all along that this is an unprecedented economic environment. We've never been in a global pandemic. When it looked like the global economy was sliding into a depression, the Fed and fiscal policymakers threw everything they had at it. And the other side of that may be that we've got a recovery that's a little hotter than they anticipated, and so they're recalibrating policy accordingly. But he's been very clear that they don't have any magic wand. They don't have a crystal ball. They're reading things as best as they can. Part of the idea that inflation was going to be transitory was that so much of it has come from supply chain disruptions, things like semiconductor shortages that have pushed car prices higher rather than sort of wages and a broad base of prices. That dynamic is shifting a little bit, and that's one of the reasons that they've shifted strategy a little bit. So they're going to continue to be very flexible as we move forward, given the uncertainty. The economy can evolve in unanticipated ways, and they will be there to recalibrate policy accordingly with the ultimate objective of a long, stable expansion like we had last time.
And we heard him use that word, stable, stability. Finally, how soon should consumers who are listening to this and watching expect to feel that things are changing?
Well, it's going to be a gradual process, so they've sped it up, but they're still indicating 3 rate hikes for next year. That means it could come. They're going to end their bond purchases in March. So we could see rate hikes in June, maybe June, September, and December would be a reasonable baseline expectation. So you could start to see rates creeping higher over the next year. So again, this is not a, ripping off the Band-Aid. This is a gradual, more methodical removal of accommodation that consumers will feel over time.
All right, guys, so watching that video, let's jump back into the article. I know that this is just mind-blowing that sending out stimulus check, they don't believe it's going to help out the economy, but let's read what this says. What concerns the economists is that while pricing are rising at historic levels, this is unlike other periods of high inflation seen in the United States. The root cause increased by fuel prices and a lower supply of consumer goods are increasing costs and leading to shortages. This is a classic recipe for inflation. When describing how the collapse of a global supply chains led demand to outpace supply, causing prices to increase. Although some supply shortages were anticipated as the global economy reopened after the COVID lockdown, they have proved more persuasive and less transitory and that have been hoped for. Literally, they're believing that it's short-sighted for the Federal Reserve to begin engaging in interest rate hikes, as it could leave those at the bottom of the income scale to suffer the most. This is literally things that I wish they would literally come out and tell everybody. Yes, the Federal Reserve is talking about the inflation spikes, and they're trying to put a damper down on this inflation that is going out of control, because the whole point of the video was that they said that they were trying to get the economy to recover from the pandemic. So they threw everything, all the sources, all the tools into it to help the economy recover. But they said that because of the recovery, they lowered all the interest rates. They did everything they could to get people to buy. And then when it got out of control, now they're trying to make it harder for you to buy. And then they want to raise the interest rate so you'll buy less. This is a confusing, doesn't make sense kind of strategy to tackle inflation. But guys, let us know how you feel about it, because I'm going to be honest, I have tons of friends trying to buy homes right now that it is literally just making it impossible because of the high interest rates. A buying power is so important when you're going to buy a house. You literally could not get the same square foot in a house for the same price that you did last year, this year. I mean, you're literally having to buy less for more, which doesn't make any sense at all. And these are our leaders. These are the people who we're entrusting to help lead our country. No, I think that they need to do a better job. That's just me though, but let us know down in the comments below. Let's keep reading. Money begins to move more slowly throughout the economy when they, of course, raise these inflation spikes. This can make it more difficult for firms and individuals to gain access to credit, and in many cases, there's an associated rise in unemployment. Many economists are warning that the interest rate increase could stunt the economy recovery, which has empowered workers for the first time in decades, giving them greater leverage when negotiating salaries and benefits. In other words, this is helping so many of the workers get better pay, better salary, better benefits because it's a competitive market. They actually have options on selecting a better job. So this is definitely what we want as the economy recovers. Why would they try to stop it now? Why would they try to dampen it now when things are doing really good? I wish they would just get this pricing under control. But this is what has really stunned me was the shortages that they're talking about that is going to increase. This is why I wanted to bring you guys this news, because shortages can impact you in a very, very bad way, because when it comes to the cost of living, the high prices that we're already paying, why would they want to try to make things worse when you can't even get the product that you need? The daily essentials. When the pandemic hit, shelves were empty. It was hard for people to get the assistance they needed, the relief, and they're literally saying that with this inflation, the spike hikes, that they're trying to stop it from getting to that point where there is no product, there is a shortage. So we're going to keep reading, but the thing, guys, that I would really wanted to point out was everybody wants a stimulus check, and we want to give you the most up-to-date news, but we want to be open, honest, and transparent about stimulus checks, and we always want to give you information on the states that are actually providing or proposing a stimulus check. But this article really caught my attention because they're literally kind of balancing the idea of a stimulus check, and then they're saying that it really wouldn't help at this time. So looking back at the article, could a stimulus check help stabilize the situation? Rather than a stimulus check, some economists have floated the idea of a one-time inflation adjustment tax cut for lower and middle income households. They believe that this tax cut could be financed by taxing monopoly rents of the oil, technology, pharmaceutical, and other corporate giants that made a killing from the crisis. A more significant tax return could support families in the short term to counter the impact of increased prices. While prices are up more than 8%, wages have only increased 4.5% in the last year. However, many experts also see this crisis as an opportunity to make structural fixes to the U.S. economy to protect households moving forward. One proposal could be that has emerged calls from anchoring consumer price index changes to the amount of nutritional assistance distributed to families through programs like SNAP and WIC. They're literally trying to take this opportunity for the structural fix to help protect households moving forward, for those that are on benefits, those that are on WIC, those on low income, even the middle class, those that are on benefits. They're trying to get more structure to help everybody out and prevent a pandemic situation from happening again, where people would be literally stuck without getting any help. So they're trying to get things moving, guys. This information on, the stimulus check, they're looking for a long-term fix. Doesn't sound like they're looking for a short-term fix, even though you and I would love a stimulus check. They're wanting something more long-term, which in this case, a Band-Aid, even though it might be good, it's only temporary. So let us know your comments down below. I really wanted to throw this out there for you guys to ask your opinion, your feedback to what you really thought. And to leave you with one more thing, I've had several comments on the chip implant. They're talking about, implanting a chip to buy certain things. So let's jump into that article for those that are interested in the chip. Hand implant allows people to pay with a chip. The future is here. Those tired of taking out their wallet or phone to pay for things could soon skip that step entirely, thanks to a new implantable payment chip. The British-Polish company has created a microchip that can be implanted inside a person's hand and uses as a one would tap a credit card for a payment. The technology is only currently allowed to be sold in the European Union and the UK. The implant can be used to pay for a drink on the beach in Rio, a coffee in New York, a haircut in Paris, or at your local grocery store. The founder and chief executive said that it can be used wherever contactless payments are accepted. Guys, honestly, how do you feel about this? I almost guarantee you there will be a huge push against this. For those that lean more towards a religious side of it, this is not a good sign at all. I'm just being honest with you guys. But let us know, this is big because it doesn't just impact those in the high class, the middle class, and the low class. This impacts everybody. And this is something that literally can go much further than just whether, making it simpler process to buy the goods that you want. So I've heard many positive things about the chip. I've heard from several the positive feedback on how a chip that could be used to diagnose health issues, that could detect problems before they even happen, getting you to the right place at the right time to get the help that you need. So I've heard good things, but then I've heard a lot of bad things, and on this channel we remain neutral. My opinion doesn't matter at all. But I wanted to throw this out there because several commented saying, well, let me explain the chip. Let me explain why it's good. And then you have a lot that are saying, man, get that thing away from me. You ain't putting it in me for no reason. I don't care how hard it is to pull out my wallet, pull out my billfold, pull out my credit card. I'm not getting something implanted. So guys, it's divided. I'd love to know your feedback, and so let me know on that. All right guys, that's all the information that we have for you today. I hope that it's helped. I hope that it sparked some interest and curiosity on the topics that literally our country is dealing with. This thing is literally there's so much news going on, and I wanted to bring it to you guys, and we want to help you out from this channel, and that's why we're going to be doing a ton of giveaways for you guys. You guys truly are amazing. And one way that we're going to do it is if you want to click on the links down below. Robinhood is giving a free stock when you use our link down below. And if you want to get 5 free stocks, you can click on the Webull link, and that's going to give you 5 free stocks when you sign up and go through that process. And guys, also if you want to win a $50 Visa gift card, then comment the word Visa gift card in the comments, and you will have a chance to win that gift card in the next video that we do. We're trying to do every 3 videos, maybe every 4 or 5, but just depends on the time, guys. We're trying to help everybody out. But definitely comment that if you want a chance to win. Don't forget about the giveaway video that we're doing when this channel hits 60K subscribers. Guys, you've been amazing. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Stay tuned for more information to come. If you need anything, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you again so much for watching. And until next time, I'm John Muro. Peace.